Storm, Inglorious HD. Yeah, so I had been like making a PC and upgrading it and stuff over the last couple of weeks, and I was like, cool, I finished. And then I decided, hey, you know what would be cool? I'll add liquid cooling to that PC. So yeah, so yeah, ordered me a liquid cooler from Amazon. And as much as I work in IT, liquid cooling is one thing that I haven't actually gotten directly with outside of a textbook. So I was like, sure, that looks great. I'll get that one. And yeah. Uh, so I wanted to be doing an unboxing because I've unboxed it already. That is the liquid cooling unit that I got myself. And yeah, I was a bit shocked when I seen the size of the box, especially when you consider that that is the size of the case that I had for my PC, which I've been using all the time, which yeah has been stripped down for one reason, and I will go into that in a little bit. But here is my uh, PC's mainboard out of the case right now. Uh, yeah, it's a fairly decent machine. A Ryzen 3700X. My 1 terabyte NVMe drive, which is absolutely amazingly small. 32 gigs of DDR4 3200 megahertz. Really nice components. What's missing from there is my graphics card, which is yeah, my graphics card out and all cozily resting on top of a load of the mounting pieces from the liquid cooler. And yeah, it's a, as you can see, it's a EVGA 980 Ti superclock version. It is a fairly now old card, I want to say, because it's a 980, 1080, 2080, and the coming cards are the 30 series, so like it's technically coming up on 3 generations old in terms of size of that card. For comparison's sake, there is the Switch up against that. Yeah, it's not a small graphics card in the slightest. It's one of those ones where I have to get kind of ripped on a tiny bit because of the PC that I have, and I never used this for gaming. Here is my case with the remaining hard drives. So you get a rack of 3 terabytes. I had to take out the other 3 terabyte that was on top. And the last one inside there is a terabyte Kingston SSD. It's not bad. It was my old boot drive, but now with that NVMe I boot from that. But this case is what would be, yeah, a sleeper case. And the one thing I didn't think of is where to put a liquid cooler inside here. And the only realistic place is on the vents at the top. However, if it goes into the vents at the top, it is way, way too close to where the motherboard processor would be, which is right here. So, yeah, I had to kind of adjust it a small little bit. And that's where this idea came from. So now we have my vent at the top here, where I'm going to put the radiator on the outside of, and the other half of the radiator here. Uh, yes, I have made a little bit of an incision through this case. Should point out, I work in IT. But yeah, my intention is to have the radiator rest on top up here, and then fix the fans underneath in such a way that the fans will be drawing air down through the radiator, which will be on the top of the PC. Now, if anyone's ever thinking of doing something crazy like this, the one thing I will point out is these edges of this steel are incredibly sharp. And I mean like incredibly sharp. And I have lost a significant amount of blood tonight. I don't really like losing blood all that much. But yeah, it was good fun. Ow! Ow! Actually, that mark right there was from the releasing the latch of the AMD CPU. The other two fingers are gashed open, and I don't really want to break too much of my PG content on YouTube, but yeah, this was the cloth that I was using to make sure and clean up the top of the case, and along with my hands. And yeah, I don't like losing blood, but I did a significant amount to this project. Yay! Ow. So who wants to be the first one to leave the comment of cable management is oh my god? But yeah, obviously, this isn't all back together yet. There is 10 terabytes of hard drives inside there though. Uh, and yee, the tiny one that matters the most. But yeah, obviously my graphics card isn't back in there yet. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see that guy. But that's in there now. And oh my, that was not designed to be in this case in the slightest. But my plan worked out. I now have my fans there, venting air down the great positive airflow inside. And now on top of this, I have a radiator, which will be cooling the air inside here. Because outside the case, it'll be cooling it that bit more. And yeah, it's going to have all of the air pulled down through here. And yeah, vented down then into the actual case. With the graphics card in, I might throw the back fan on there again because I have absolutely tons of other fans. But I kind of want to see what this sounds like when it's actually up and running with the minimal amount of fans in it right now. Because yeah, like that's going to be more than enough cooling for there. And my GPU has a ton of fan power on its own. So I just want to see if the positive airflow of both of these guys venting down is going to be enough to keep the case from overheating and sort out this rat's nest a small bit while I put that guy back in. And there we go. It does take up quite a lot of real estate inside in this case, and it's now quite visible why I had so much problems with the installation. Considering, yeah, like I said, this is a very, very compact case to now feature the power supply, the 4 hard drives inside there, 3 mechanical, and 1 SSD, the 1 terabyte NVMe that's now tucked underneath there and completely invisible, my EVGA 980 Ti back in play, and yeah, 1 Ryzen 3700X complete with Corsair Liquid Cooler. Who is, of course, radiated up here because, yep, concessions. Now, and the final look over. This is not unconnected bar the plug. This is the moment of truth as to if I have everything actually connected, and that's gonna work. And yeah, it's quite a really like kind of unimpressive case on the outside, which I really enjoy. It's fine. I did add one small piece of foam here because the metal was actually a tiny bit on the sharp side. So I just put a foam buffer in underneath the actual cooler's radiator, just where it was going to be in contact with where I had cut. So I've got foam there on each side. And the radiator is actually raised up quite a bit as well from that. You might not look like much, but say inside the frame of this, you can see that there is a couple of millimeters of a gap between that, and that same gap is on the underside. And like I said, now uh, the soft core of that, it has got some foam on there to protect it from the crazy kind of damage that was done to that case. But I think the actual radiator covers the damage quite a bit, so it's not as apparent. Like obviously, the way a radiator would work inside the liquid cooler is that's gonna get hot, and it's gonna vent that hot water will come up here, and what would normally be inside the case gets to be outside, and it's gonna bring that hot water outside the case and run it across this, and the fans still being on the insides or just underneath there, and that'll be venting it down. But now the moment of truth, does it work? Hey, it didn't just start beeping looking for its RAM. Ooh, that is quite quiet. I did actually remove the rear case fans as well. So the rear fan is gone from it, and that side plating fan did not go back on at all. So the only fans that are inside this PC right now are up above the cooler on the actual, just directly underneath the radiator. So this is using like a high pressure system to actually make that cooling work. So you've got, whoa, incredibly cool air being pulled down through there. That is exceptionally cold. And yeah, you can feel it's just being sucked straight down into the case. And weirdly enough, that's not the RGB version of the Corsair's liquid cooler, but still it's got like the Corsair logo on there in white, just to let you know that everything is cool inside your case and working away nice. And yeah, when it comes to RGB in my case, the only other thing that's kind of really lit up there is the EVGA 980 Ti. Like I said, not exactly a spring chicken of graphics cards, but at the same time, very, very capable still for 1080p gaming. It was a king at the time, just quite a few years ago now. But still, yeah, I think I can't emphasize enough how quiet that is. But whoa, also like the cool air being vented down through that is quite crazy. Because like, yeah, the way these like positive pressure works, so you have the air just being vented in through here, but like, and obviously incredible rate, and it's incredibly cool. So the case is just going to fill up with cold air, which then has to vent out. And so even without a rear case fan, that air has to just come out because it has to escape out of it. There's just so much being vented in through the top, so it's just literally going to come down through every hole that's on that case. I am actually missing something at the minute, which is this front plate where it would have the DVD drive, but because of cabling, I haven't been able to put the DVD drive back in. Now I only had the DVD drive in there as a yeah, just as a thing, just to block this up. What I'm actually going to do is just get a USB 3.0 panel for that and run that into the board then on the inside, so it'll make it more useful. I haven't used a DVD drive in years. It was literally just on there to complete the closed case. As always, it's a case of like, if you do have a PC case and you ever think I'll open this side panel to increase the cooling of it, the side panel is very important to make that cooling work. Because if I was to remove this entire side panel, when the air flowed down through the top here, all it would do was come out here and then immediately exit through the side, because it would just follow the path of least resistance, which would be to pour out. Whereas you want the actual case to be sealed so that the air goes into it and then it's forced and has to come down here, and some will vent out here and then it'll continue on and then it'll get vented out here. And yeah, like any place where you have gaps in this case, say even down to the very end, you still have cold air venting out of it, and that is just because of the fact that that side panel is on. So yeah, if you remove the side panel off the PC, cooling will get worse. But hooray! It's working! I just need to, yeah, get this guy back in place and reconnect a couple of more wires other than just the power. But yeah, I think that's a pretty cool match for the EVGA logo on the graphics card. They go quite well together. But yeah, that's where I've been for the last day, cutting myself and rigging a liquid cooler and padding onto a case that was clearly never designed to do it. And also, I do love the fact that I have left this on here because I got Ryzen 1200 before. So yeah, just a completely sleeper look. I do have my Ryzen 3 on that, as opposed to the 3700X that's living inside there underneath that liquid cooler now. Alright guys, I just said I'd chuck this together just to say where I've been and what I do other than driving cars. Make PCs. They make PCs fun, and I cut myself with PCs.